Honestly, this is like $1 million question, and I had asked this question from a lot of people, but the answer that I would get was that the NCA exams are easy. Wait till you get to the bar exam. Well, that doesn't really answer my question at all. So don't worry, I'm not going to give you that answer. I've pulled up some numbers from the past couple of years and just noticing how many people have failed. So I'm going to share that because I think that would be helpful for you to just assess the number of people who fail and pass, and then kind of figure out, how hard can the exams be. Take a look at this chart. I pulled this chart from the NCA report in 2017. This is not the latest version, but I think it still gives us an idea of the failing rate for these NCA exams. So as you can see that the rate has been fluctuating. So it's not even throughout all of these years. So from what I see is that the highest failing rate was in 2010, which was approximately 36%. And then you can see that it goes down. But just to give you an example, so in 2015, in total, there were about 4,889 individuals who wrote the exam for the entire year. And then there were about 719 people who failed. So the failing rate was about 14.8%. To be honest, my answer to this question would be that the NCA exams can be harder for some people, but it can be easier for the other. So what I'm going to do is that I will tell you what kind of people find the exams hard and what kind of people find the exams easier. So it's your job to figure out which category do you fall into. So the first one is that if you have a common law background, it's likely that you're going to find the exam a bit easier. Why? Because you have that skill of analyzing case law, you understand precedent, you know how to analyze cases and apply the decision to your answer. So you might find the exam a bit easier than somebody who comes from a civil law background. And I mean, people who come from civil law backgrounds can learn this skill, obviously, but I think that they would need a little bit more time to prepare for this exam and just learn like exam techniques and exam writing skills before, they feel confident writing the exam. Now, the second point is if you're familiar with the subject matter. Now, I'm going to give you an example from my life. So I did the pre-LLM program at Osgoode, and I also did my master's in international business law. So I had prior knowledge about constitution, foundations, admin, business, professional responsibility. So when I was reading the materials, I didn't have a hard time understanding the main concepts because I had already done it when I was in school. So if you're somebody who knows basic concepts from Canadian law, it's likely that you're going to find the exam easier. But if you're somebody who has no knowledge and just got here, I mean, it's likely that you're going to find the exam harder, and it might take you more time to prepare for the exam. And obviously you can learn all these skills, but I think that you'll find it harder to, I guess, prepare for these exams. Now, the third thing is how well can you write? Now, no matter how much knowledge you have, no matter how many books you read, at the end of the day, on the exam, you have to write. So people who are good at writing and, can easily express themselves, they're going to find the exam a bit easier because the testing is solely based on how you write. So, if you're a good writer and you know how to answer exam questions, I think that you'll find the exam easier. But people who don't have a good writing style or, find it really hard to write quickly or, they need to maybe think a lot before they write, I think that, you're going to find the exam a bit harder because, at the end of the day, it is your writing skills and how fast you can write and how, fast you can manage your times. I mean, you can learn that skill, but again, you can find the exam a bit harder. The last and the most important is when was the last time you wrote an exam? Because some people might not have written an exam for the past 10 years. And some people, might just have graduated from law school. So if you're somebody who hasn't written an exam in the past 10 years, it might be hard for you to prepare for these exams because at the end of the day, you have to, manage your time. There's pressure, and then there's a whole bunch of like exam writing techniques that you might have forgotten or you're just not used to anymore. So just giving you an example from my life again, I did O and A levels as part of, not as part of, but like as my high school. I did O and A levels, which is the British system. So every year we did the same thing as writing an NCEA exam. So we had to go to a different location, and then, there were proctors, and it was a very similar setup, and, you had to manage your time and everything. So I was very familiar with this kind of setup, and I was kind of used to it. So when I went to write the exam, I didn't feel like, there's a lot of pressure, or I wouldn't be able to manage my time. So that was good for me. So people who have been writing exams find the NCEA exams a bit easier. But some people who haven't done it might find that they're not able to perform as much as they like on the exam, because there are a lot of things that could go wrong on the exam. So obviously you can learn it. You can learn it by practicing exams and managing your time and all sorts of stuff. But this is like my general point of view. If you haven't written an exam, you want to maybe practice a little bit more than somebody who's done it in the past. Now, in the end, there's no set answer. There are a lot of factors, that we can discuss. But it really depends on also your skill level and a little bit of your background as well. But someone who has written the exams, I didn't find the exams to be very hard, in the sense that, when I opened the exam, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything. That did not happen. So I felt that the testing was quite reasonable. But again, it can vary from person to person. So yeah, if this was helpful, please subscribe to my channel and perhaps like this video. I'm going to be sharing a lot of other answers to like difficult questions. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.